How did my brother convince everyone he worked for NASA? I've been recruited by NASA, he announced over Mom's Lasagna, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. They've been watching my electronics work and want me for their Mars program. Dad set down his fork. NASA recruited you? From Best Buy? They have scouts everywhere looking for untapped talent. Can't discuss details, classification levels. Mom clasped her hands together. My son, a rocket scientist. The lie metastasized quickly. Within weeks, Ryan had Vistaprint business cards. Ryan Morrison, Systems Integration Specialist, NASA JPL. He'd used NASA's official logo, added an employee ID cobbled from his birthday digits, spent nights memorizing Wikipedia articles about orbital mechanics, rocket propulsion, and Mars rover operations, could discuss heat shields and telemetry with enough confidence to fool anyone without actual expertise. By Christmas, Mom had bought him an official NASA jacket. He wore it everywhere. Grocery stores, bars, doctor appointments, posted old photos from a 2015 Kennedy Space Center vacation, claiming they were from yesterday's classified briefings. His LinkedIn exploded to 4,000 followers who thought they were networking with a real rocket scientist. When rent came due, he claimed government shutdowns had delayed his paycheck. Dad loaned him $12,000 without questioning it. When he missed Thanksgiving, he was monitoring a critical mission. Security footage would later show him at a casino that day, losing $3,000 of Dad's loan at blackjack. His girlfriend Sandra became his biggest advocate, changed her Instagram bio to dating a literal rocket scientist, posted a couple of photos with captions about how his genius inspired her. Their engagement announcement mentioned postponing the honeymoon until after Ryan's Mars mission succeeded. The fictional workplace Ryan created was elaborate. Fake email accounts for supervisors who'd urgently message during family dinners. He'd excuse himself, drive to Starbucks, and return hours later exhausted from preventing satellite collisions. Once claimed he'd saved NASA $60 billion by catching a calculation error in 4 hours of emergency coding. The documentation looked convincing to anyone who didn't scrutinize closely. Forged pay stubs showing an $18,000 salary. Fake performance reviews calling him irreplaceable to the Mars program. A counterfeit security badge he'd flashed quickly, but never let anyone examine. He even created fake LinkedIn profiles for his imaginary colleagues, using stock photos and generated names. My wedding became the beginning of the end. During his toast, Ryan said, "Working on the Perseverance rover taught me about perseverance and love." My wife's uncle, an actual aerospace engineer at Boeing, raised an eyebrow. Interesting. Which systems did you work on for Perseverance? Can't discuss specifics. Classification protocols. But Perseverance launched in 2020, before you started at NASA. Ryan's face flushed. I meant retrospective analysis of Perseverance data. Excuse me. Urgent call from Houston. Guests watched through the banquet hall windows as Ryan paced the parking lot for 40 minutes, gesturing wildly at no one, phone pressed to his ear, occasionally shouting things like, "The telemetry doesn't support that trajectory." His phone was actually dead. I'd seen him forget to charge it that morning. Our cousin Eric worked in government contracting with security clearance access. Decided to verify Ryan's story through official channels. Found nothing. Ryan claimed his clearance was above standard databases, which Eric knew was nonsense. That's when Eric started digging deeper. The implosion came via Reddit. Someone posted security footage from Kennedy Space Center. Guy tries to convince security he works for NASA with business cards from Vistaprint. The video showed Ryan arguing with guards, waving his fake badge, insisting he was late for a critical propulsion meeting. 3 million views in 48 hours. Comments identified him on LinkedIn. Local news interviewed the Best Buy manager about the phone charger theft. Interviewed Vistaprint about the cease and desist they'd sent regarding trademark infringement. Interviewed actual NASA employees whose names Ryan had been forging on emails. Sandra left him instantly, not for the deception, but for the humiliation. Their engagement photos had become memes. Reaching for the stars, stealing phone chargers. She had to delete all social media, change jobs, and move apartments to escape the association. Dad consulted a lawyer. Ryan had committed federal crimes, impersonating a federal employee, trademark infringement, and wire fraud. Could face 5 years in prison. Ryan's response was to double down. NASA was a cover story. I actually work for Space Force. The Reddit exposure was planned misdirection. At his fraud hearing, he wore a homemade Space Force uniform. Told the judge, "Your Honor, I have diplomatic immunity under orbital law. This court has no jurisdiction over space personnel. 30 days for contempt of court." He's out now, living in his car, still posting aerospace insights on LinkedIn as independent space consultant. Last week announced he declined Mars's offer, but was considering Venus's atmospheric research station, the fictional station on the planet where lead melts. But according to yesterday's LinkedIn post, Jupiter's moon Europa wants him for their underwater base program. Nobody responds anymore, except Mom, who still asks when NASA will pay him back.